Imagine waking up, and everything just flows. You feel light, clear, like you're exactly where you're supposed to be. But sometimes, the tiniest, most beautiful flicker in your own home can quietly block that flow, like a forgotten light, or a hidden shadow. Let me tell you what I saw with my own eyes, in a little tucked-away corner of an old European study. You know those old studies or dens? The kind that feel like they've seen 1,000 stories, filled with dusty books and antique furniture? My great-uncle Alistair's study, in a sprawling, historic house in the English countryside, was exactly like that. It always felt a bit stuffy, you know? Like the air was thick with unexpressed thoughts and old ideas, even when the windows were open. It looked harmless, a place of quiet contemplation. But I just couldn't shake off this feeling that something intangible, something really old, kind of lingered there. A quiet keeper of stories, yes, but also of a certain heaviness. Have you ever felt a spot like that in your own home? A place that just feels different? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and keep listening, because this story might just feel really familiar. You know that feeling, right? When you wake up and something just feels off? Like you're dragging your feet, or things just aren't clicking into place? It's like you're trying to push water uphill, and it's just exhausting. You're trying your best, but everything feels like a struggle, a constant uphill battle. It's the worst, isn't it? Well, in so many old European stories and wisdom, this idea of things not flowing smoothly, it's not always some big dramatic problem that screams for attention. Oh no, it's much more subtle than that. It often just whispers to you, showing up in these tiny, almost unnoticeable ways, gently nudging you to see where things might be stuck, or maybe where some really precious, good stuff has just been completely forgotten about over time. And the wildest thing is, what usually blocks this good, easy flow, it's almost always something we put there ourselves, right? Like, without even a second thought. Maybe it's that pile of old junk mail that's been sitting by the door forever, or that coat you haven't worn in years just hanging there, taking up space. Or, in this particular story, it was just forgetting about a simple, almost childlike, old custom that people used to swear by for good fortune. It's like we accidentally put up these little invisible barriers, and then we're left scratching our heads, wondering why on earth everything suddenly feels so heavy and hard. And once I kinda tuned into that, once I really truly noticed how these little things could build up, wow, I just couldn't unsee it anymore. It was like a light bulb went off, especially when I went to visit my friend Chloe in her new little apartment in Paris. Boy, was that an eye-opener. So, my friend Chloe. She just moved into this charming but tiny apartment in Paris. It had good light, character, nothing really wrong with it on paper. But from the moment she moved in, she kept saying her apartment just felt stagnant. Not like scary stagnant or haunted stagnant. Nope, just heavy. Like the air itself hadn't moved in years, even when all her beautiful French windows were wide open on a breezy day. She'd try to clean, try to rearrange things, but that feeling just lingered, a low hum of unease. She'd wake up feeling tired, even after a full night's sleep. Little things at work would constantly go wrong, especially her creative projects. She just felt stuck, like she was walking through thick mud. She kept blaming her demanding job, or the overwhelming city life, or just general adulting burnout. But I kept thinking back to that feeling in my great uncle's study, that subtle block. And then it hit me. It wasn't some big, dramatic problem. It wasn't her job, or even the general clutter she had. It was this tiny, unassuming spot right by her main entrance. You know that little console table where you often drop your keys? She had this beautiful, but very large and unlit decorative candle sitting there. It was always there, unlit, purely for show, a small, seemingly meaningless object. But it was completely blocking the natural, welcoming energy of her home, without her ever even realizing it, like a little dam holding back a sparkling stream. And man, that got me thinking. This wasn't just about moving furniture or tidying up. This was something way deeper, something truly ancient. It was about how objects, even beautiful ones, could hold energy for better or worse. And it reminded me of something very old, something about the power of light itself. You know, this idea that your home kinda breathes, and that how things are laid out can seriously affect your luck or your well-being. That's not just some new age trend. Oh no. Ancient cultures, all over the world, even right here in Europe, they totally knew about this. They truly believed their homes weren't just buildings. They had a kind of life force, a flow that could either bring you good stuff or, well, kinda drag you down. And what's super fascinating is how they used everyday things to help that flow. Take candles, for example. In ancient Europe, light wasn't just about seeing in the dark. It was a symbol of hope, purification, and guidance. From Roman festivals lit by countless lamps, to medieval churches using candles to ward off evil and invite divine blessings, or even just lighting a small candle at home for protection and to draw in good fortune during dark times, light was revered. But in our modern homes today, shamefully, we've often completely overlooked that deep ancient power, reducing candles to just a decorative item, often left unlit. We totally forgot their magic. So the big question is, how do we bring back that ancient respect for the power of light? How do we let it help us cleanse our space and invite in better flow without turning our homes into some dusty old museum? So, what did Chloe actually do to finally shake things up in her flat? Well, you might be thinking she had to call in some expensive expert, or tear down walls, or buy a whole new set of super fancy furniture, right? Absolutely not. That's truly the coolest part about tapping into this kind of ancient wisdom. It's almost never about huge, drastic, complicated changes that make your head spin. It's often about those small, incredibly intentional acts that, surprisingly, create the biggest ripple effect. All she really focused on was that tiny, previously stagnant corner we kept talking about, right by her main door. The spot that just felt so heavy and stuck. First, she gave it a really good clean. She carefully cleared out all those forgotten old keys that had been lying there for ages, that pile of ancient ignored mail, and that weird chipped bowl that had just sat there, gathering dust, forever. Just the simple act of getting rid of that clutter already felt like a mini-win, a refreshing little breath of fresh air for that exact spot. It instantly felt lighter. Then came the next step, which was so unbelievably simple, yet incredibly powerful. Instead of that large, unlit decorative candle, she found a small, pure white pillar candle. Nothing fancy, just a simple, clean one. She placed it neatly on the console table by the door, and then, slowly, deliberately, she lit it. That was it! Can you believe how straightforward that is? She just let it burn quietly for about 15 to 20 minutes each evening, especially when coming home. It wasn't a big, dramatic ceremony at all. It was just a quiet, almost meditative act, a heartfelt way of acknowledging something really old and pure, almost like inviting a forgotten, good energy to come back and truly settle into her space. She wasn't doing it because she believed in some magic spell. She was doing it because it felt instinctively right, a simple nod to those age-old beliefs about light's incredible cleansing power. Honestly, she didn't really expect anything dramatic or instant to happen. She just thought, Hey, why not give it a try? What have I got to lose? It can't hurt, right? She just let it sit there, quietly doing its work in that once overlooked spot. But the apartment, oh my goodness. The apartment totally responded, in its own wonderfully subtle, gentle way. Almost like it had been holding its breath for ages, and could finally, blissfully, sigh in relief. You are seriously not going to believe what happened next. Just a mere few days later, after Chloe had placed and lit that incredibly simple candle in her corner, can you even imagine? A new gallery owner, who she'd admired for ages, suddenly, out of the blue, emailed her. They were interested in seeing her portfolio, opening up a huge, super exciting opportunity for her art that had seemed completely out of reach. It wasn't direct money yet, sure, but oh my goodness, it arrived exactly when she needed it most, like a perfect, unexpected little gift from out of nowhere, a real stroke of luck. And it wasn't just about the opportunities, oh no, not at all. Chloe told me, with this amazed look on her face, that her sleep had gotten so much deeper, unbelievably deeper. She stopped waking up with that nagging, underlying feeling of restlessness and tiredness that had been plaguing her for what seemed like forever. It was like she'd finally found a proper off switch for her constantly buzzing mind. She'd just sleep right through the night, completely undisturbed, waking up feeling incredibly light, utterly refreshed, and genuinely ready to tackle the day. She couldn't remember the last time she'd felt so genuinely well-rested. She even told me, the apartment, it just feels like it's breathing a huge, contented sigh of relief now, you know? It's wild. The air inside just feels cleaner, noticeably lighter, somehow more vibrant and alive. It's so strange, she admitted, but she felt way more settled, more grounded, like she was truly ready to confidently face whatever came her way in life. That old heavy, stagnant feeling, poof, completely, utterly gone. It was replaced by a quiet sense of possibility and creative inspiration. And maybe, just maybe, that's where true wealth really begins. Not with desperately chasing more, but with your personal space, finally moving freely, finally breathing easily, and genuinely allowing good things to flow right back into your life. So, maybe it's not just about all the things crammed into your space. It's truly about the way those things, or even those forgotten customs, are either holding on to energy, or worse, holding it back. It's about letting your home truly breathe. If you feel that subtle heaviness too, that quiet sense of something being a little bit stuck in your own space, it's time to take action. Try placing a lit white candle in a quiet corner near your main entrance tonight and feel the shift. Share your experience in the comments below.